It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of healthcare, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments received a free ebook written by your MedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
That I would just peek on right now, just to let you know, if you do want that book all about Medicare, just email me at wow@omgtalk.com. Email me for the free Medicare book at wow@omgtalk.com. Put in the subject line, free Medicare book, and it's yours. But I'm going to disappear for just a second. I want to put on the screen or the audio so you can hear Tony's message as well. Then I'll be right back.
You have been listening to the OMG podcast with Paul Finkelstein. We can help you build wealth without hogging your time. Schedule a one-on-one with us. Thanks for listening. Join us again for another OMG podcast segment.
Hi there. Before I come back on the screen, I just have to read to you a little introduction about today's speaker. It's always great. I learned from Toastmasters International. If you're ever introducing a speaker, that really sets up the speaker a lot for a more successful speech. So I want to tell you about Paul Finkelstein, who is a very popular name. Who has a very popular name. There's over 50 Paul Finkelsteins on LinkedIn, let alone just LinkedIn. So imagine the other Paul Finkelsteins on Facebook and the other social media with the exact same first and last name all around the world. This Paul Finkelstein doesn't like to stay in the line. That's me, the person that you're going to see on the screen in just a second, because he thinks bigger than that. How about yourself? How big do you think? Unless you're okay with the status quo, unless you're okay with mediocrity, unless you're okay with never getting a raise from your job, unless you're okay with never getting more revenue from your business, then you'll definitely not be interested in this talk, this 7-minute talk, this 25-minute talk, however long it is, or interested in entrepreneurship. I venture to think not. But you will find this talk you'll find this very talk very boring. But I do invite you to have a big open mind for some new concepts in this short 5 to 25-minute talk, which you could listen to later. It'll be archived right here, wherever you're listening to it. Paul Finkelstein. Dream big, Paul Finkelstein. Okay, that is me right there on the screen as well. I'll put over the introduction for time to be used later. But why dream big? And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, and whatever you are celebrating, it's all good. How are you today? And where did I just go? There I am. And let's take away the lower thirds there so you could see more of me as well. But why dream big? Well, first of all, maybe perhaps you want to spend the winter, how does it go? I seem to always get tongue twisted with this one. You want to go when the sun spends the winters on the beaches of the world. If you would like to go where the sun spends the winters on the beaches of the world, I love that quote. Here's a picture of the beach. Or maybe you're into traveling. I don't know what your dreams are. I don't know if we have anything in common, but we love to travel. My wife and I, that's me and my wife, Sarah and I, and we love traveling. If that's you, then maybe we have more alike than we are different. But here's another test. I'm curious, asking a question here to see if we're more alike than we have different. So how many people, by a show of hands, mowed the lawn when they were a teenager? Mowed the lawn when they were in their younger years, growing up, before college age, during high school age? Did you mow the lawn, or did your sibling mow the lawn? Do you know anybody that ever mowed the lawn? Did your spouse mow the lawn? And how was that experience? Did you think of yourself as entrepreneurial when you were mowing the lawn, or were you an employee when you did it? Just curious if you thought of yourself as an entrepreneur or not. Maybe you thought of yourself as an employee of your parents. So in a lawn mowing business, of course, you'd have to have a little bit of capital to have some equipment, some blowers, some leaf blowers, some lawn bags, some rakes, maybe even had some employees. And then maybe now you're thinking like an entrepreneur, perhaps. But, the lawn business is not very good during all the seasons unless you're someplace warm or hot, like I am right now, hot. And you have to mow the lawn all year long. Then maybe if you have a good hat and some suntan lotion and you love being outside, that could be an interesting business for you, especially if you have some employees to help you out doing that so you're not hot all the time. You can cool off just a little bit. But if you're up somewhere where it's not hot all the time, maybe a snowplow or a snow blower is something in your cards like I did. How many people, by a show of hands, actually used a snow blower in their youth when you were a teenager? And your dad showed you and made sure you were responsible enough to use this snowblower, which now they got AI snowblowers. You just use an app to do it. I mean, wow, what I had earlier, I mean, amazing. But if you still have the old-fashioned snowblower, I envy you as well. I'm encouraged by you. I'm inspired by you that you're willing to make some extra cash. Maybe it's allowance money, and you're learning the discipline of maybe starting to see what it's like to own your own business, or just the discipline of work involved, which I'll get into later, because work is one of those four-letter words that I classify as what the amateur entrepreneurs call a curse word. I won't be saying any curse words here, but the 6 curse words for amateur entrepreneurs I will talk about just a little bit. How many people have ever worked in a kitchen? If you worked in a kitchen like a server or prepping food or a dishwasher, all these things, was that you? Then maybe we are more alike than we are different. That's my introduction to this speech. I just want to find out if there's any similarities, because if we have any similarities, then hey, let's stay in touch here, wherever you're listening to this, on whatever platform you're listening to this, or email me. I loved your speech, Paul. I hated your speech, Paul. Email me at wow@omgtalk.com. That's wow@omgtalk.com. But millions of people want to have their own business, but they never do it because they chicken out, because of other circumstances, because of various reasons that are individual for everybody. But why? Is it perhaps the freedom that they were looking for? Were they thinking that having their own business was going to give them freedom? So why dream big? So let's divert just a little bit. And if I could put on the screen, if I could find it, I will share something with you. There's a guy here or a gal that's saying hi. So I'm just going to say hi back. Thanks so much for saying hi. That's awesome of you as well. I also am going to say hi back and put some comments over there. And let's see if this works. It actually, I had a picture of myself, but I guess I changed it. So I'll leave that there. So I'm saying thank you very much for listening, but we're going to say thank you if you're listening, looking at this on the landscape version. I used to have a picture of myself when I was 13 years old. What did you look like when you were 13 years old? How did you act when you were 13 years old at this 13-year-old birthday party? My mom threw this birthday party. I landed clear across the dance floor, right into her lap, and got pegged out by the DJ. Did that ever happen to you? Got pegged out by the DJ and said, "You're out. You lost the game." Have you ever played a game called Red Rover, send Johnny over? Ever heard that game? If you're a DJ, you might have heard it. I don't know if they still play it now. Maybe the younger kids, they might play it with them. But this game, Red Rover, said Johnny over. I think of Johnny as the person that was an employee or a self-employed person on one side of the dance floor, and does Johnny as the self-employed or the employee have enough guts and daring to run across the dance floor and become a business owner or an investor? And what does it take to be able to do that? If you're just curious, definitely stay in touch. Make a comment in the comments or email me at, I want to know what Johnny's role is of being an employee or an entrepreneur and what that means. And you can't be an employee and an entrepreneur at the same time if you have the right mindset. And eventually maybe you have a reason for being an employee, perhaps. So here is, I'll go back to that game. But here are what I call the amateur entrepreneur curse words that hold people back from being an entrepreneur. The first 6 words, well, I mentioned one of them earlier, which was work. It's a 4-letter word, work. And that holds people back because, well, people don't want to do the work. They want the path of least resistance. Effort is just like work. So let's get those first 2 out of the way. Then we're working our way up this time instead of down the list that I made, because they're in no particular order. I believe they're just 6 amateur curse words. But you know what? It's not just amateurs. There's long-time entrepreneurs that are just not whole into being an entrepreneur because they're doing what they call the pogo stick method of being an entrepreneur. They hop and hop and hop and hop and hop, and then they're in and they're out, and they're in and they're out. They're part entrepreneur, they're part employee. They never quite make it all the way over. So this is great review even for myself. So procrastination, there's your curse word for entrepreneurs. The third curse word for entrepreneurs that I say is a curse word. And that procrastination is they don't have a round to it. If you have a round to it, there's no way you'll procrastinate. Talk to me about what a round to it is later. email me, wow@omgtalk.com, and put the subject line, what the heck is around to it, Paul? Comfortable, the fourth curse word for being an entrepreneur, because many people are in their comfort zones. Many people live paycheck to paycheck. Statistically speaking, it's impossible to know that you are succeeding or not succeeding, but 95% statistically, you're dead disabled or broke by 65. Only 4 or 5% are financially okay, which means there's a chance, a very big, huge chance that you're broken. Well, it's just a matter of the river called denial. So the fifth word for entrepreneurs, that's a curse word, is tired. We'll talk about that later too, because if for you're tired, we can save you and get you ahead and be a better entrepreneur. But if sick and tired falls closely together, sick and tired, those two words, I didn't have sick being part of the amateur entrepreneurs, but if sick goes with tired, that we'll talk about that as well. And then there's mediocre. Mediocrity. And if mediocre falls into your vocabulary a lot, or maybe you haven't thought about it lately, well, frankly, those are the 6 curse words that hold back a lot of people from becoming entrepreneurs from employee. If you like to become a member of my team and become an entrepreneur, I have a few openings. Okay. I love to say I have 1,000 openings. I can handle all of you with this video. Okay. So why dream big? Let's put those dreams back up on the screen. If you're more alike than we are different and you want to travel by way of cruise or by land, this is Athens, Greece, or my wife and I love to travel and go where the sun spends the winters on the beaches of the world. If you're that kind of person, you're in the right place at the right time. But you're the kind of person that they think their job is so sexy. My job is so sexy. I love my job. I like my job. Said no one ever, right? So not an entrepreneur ever, because an entrepreneur doesn't want to keep that job, but we do need people to maybe work for us, which means that we'd love to have people be employed by us. So being employed is a good thing as well. I don't want to have a big raise at my job, or I don't want more revenue at my business. I make good money. How many people do I have to hear say that they make good money? To me, good money is a huge amount of money, but just good money sounds a little bit like the mediocre curse word to me. So if you're saying good money, maybe rethink those terms. If you're really making good money, then is it mediocre money, or is it really, really good money? And what is really, really good money? Do you know how much money you need to make $70,000 a year without your job? Do you know how much money you need to have so that you can live off of your interest for the rest of your life? How much money do you need to make $70,000 for the rest of your life? And is $70,000 enough for your lifestyle? Do you know you're surrounded by millions of people who settled for something less? Do you know you are surrounded by millions of people that settled for something less? And did you know that 95% of your peers, by the time they get to 65, are dead, disabled, or broke? It's no joke. Only 4% are financially okay. That petite, that little, that small. Did you know that most people are living paycheck to paycheck? I'm not yelling, I'm just passionate. 1% is financially independent. 1% knows their financial independence number. 1% knows their fun number. They can do when they want, how they want, where they want, so they can have as much fun as they want, because life is short. So why dream big? I'm going to put those dreams back up on the screen. If you want to go where the sun spends the winter on the beaches of the world, or if you want to travel like us, and we're more alike than we are different, what is the definition of success to you? I'm going to give you my definition of success right now. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream come true. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream come true. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream come true. But success is different in the eyes of a 20-year-old. Success is different in the eyes of a 30-year-old. Success is different in the eyes of a 40-year-old. Success is different in the eyes of a 50-year-old. Success is different in the eyes of a 70-year-old, an 80-year-old, a 90-year-old, a 100-year-old. What does a 100-year-old think about success? Let's not even talk about that right now. I hope they are the most fit, the most exciting, the most enthusiastic 100-year-old that you've ever met in your entire life. Now, take a piece of paper in our program here. and write a circle in your piece of paper right now. I'll hold. Did you do it? Did you write that circle? Did you put a dollar sign in the middle of it? I dare you to take a picture of it. Take a screenshot of it. Email it to me. Text it to me. Email me that picture with the circle. I want to see how big your circle is. Is your circle this big? Is your circle this big? Or is your circle this big? I want to know how big your circle is, because that is your income circle. You don't have to tell me how much money you're making. Just tell me how big your circle is. Is your circle like this? Is your circle like this? Or is your circle like this? And email me or text it to me. Email me your circle in the subject line. Put my circle is, and email it to me at wow@omgtalk.com, or text it to me at 561-302-0051. That's 561-302-0051. Email me your circle. I don't want to know how much money you make. Just tell me how big your circle is. Is your circle this big? Is your circle this big? Or is your circle this big? I'm curious. Now, draw another circle around your circle. So if your circle was this big, you're going to have another circle outside your circle. If your circle is this big, draw another circle outside your circle. If your circle is this big, draw a circle outside your circle, because that circle is now your dream circle. Because your first circle was your income circle. That's the maximum amount of money you're ever going to make for the rest of your life. But the dream circle, that's where life happens. More than just surviving. Have you ever heard of Robert Kiyosaki's book, Cash Flow Quadrant? We've been talking about that a little bit with the game Red Rover, but Rovers had Johnny over. And Johnny is the employee. And most people are employees, because 95% of most people are dead, disabled, or broke by 65. Most people live paycheck to paycheck. And Johnny, we would like to take a bunch of Johnnies. That's the employee. That could be Mrs. Johnny, too. Employee or self-employed person. We want to dare Johnny or Johnny's spouse come on over as business partners to the business owner and investor side, the right side of the quadrant. And we want to teach them to be entrepreneurs. If you're that kind of person, if you want to be taught to be a great entrepreneur with the great team and scalable, come join us. So why dream big? Let's put those dreams here in case somebody is joining us for the last time. But if you want to go with the sun spends the winters on the beaches of the world, if you like traveling with us, you are more alike than we are different. But let's take a break from all that and slow down just a little bit. And who helps an old lady cross the road? Would you help an old lady cross the road? Are you a nice person? Are you a mentor? Are you a coach, a gentleman, a mensch, a distinguished Toastmaster? We'll tell you about that later. Just put a comment. I'll answer it later. Are you a kind person? And now, here's the repetition. You want to go with the sun spends the winters on the beaches of the world? You want to travel? You're more alike than us than we are different. Who helps an employee or self-employed person? Who helps them cross their road, their wake-up call to become a business owner or an investor? Who helps them? Same thing as the old lady scenario. The coach, the mentor, the kind person, entrepreneur, the business owner who was once an employee that could teach leadership by example. If you're a leadership kind of person and you like to teach leadership by example, we're more alike than you are different. Why does it feel good to help somebody? Why does it feel good to mentor somebody? Why does it feel good to educate somebody? Who will teach you if I don't? And what will happen if you don't listen to me right now? Why don't people dream big? I'll tell you right now. Here's just a few, but there's tons of answers. Why don't people dream big? Those 6 amateur curse words, that's one of them. But TikTok, TV, Netflix, binge watching, other time zappers, 168 hours a week we all have for 45 years. And then you're much older, you're tired. And do you feel like dreaming big after that? And you're just coasting by. Just remember that Colonel Sanders at 65, around that time period, started Kentucky Fried Chicken at 65 years old. Thomas Edison, a lot of greats started. He was the inventor of electricity and all those things. They started late in life. So if you didn't start early enough, it's not too late for you. But does sick, we talked about the word tired. If sick precedes tired for you, if sick and tired of a boss, sick and tired of not getting a raise, sick and tired of being broke, sick and tired of your income circle being short of your dream circle, maybe you're ready to dream big. What does dream big mean? Go where the sun spends the winter on the beaches of the world. Like to travel a lot to places like the Parthenon in Athens, Greece. Then we're more alike than you are different. Why don't more people do this? Here's the reason why. Fear. and we'll talk about what fear really is. Lack of capital, lack of money, lack of education, lack of confidence, which Toastmasters can help anybody with confidence. I promise you that. Fear equals this acronym. Write this down. Fear is false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. But also fear is forget everything and run. So get that fear out of your system. Here's 4 books in case you want something more than just Paul speaking, which is Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, How to Be Rich by J. Paul Getty, and Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz, and Think and Go Rich by Dr. Napoleon Hill. Those 4 books will help us as a team get whatever you want out of life. But when you're ready to get your dream circle, you will dream big. When your income circle is falling short of your dream circle and you want more, and perhaps maybe you want to improve your health, you'll dream big. That's a wrap. I love if we have something in common here. If you would like something more out of life, email me, text me, leave a comment. Email me at wow@omgtalk.com. Put the subject line. I just heard your video, Paul. I'll put in some short snippets as well, like 20 seconds, 1 minute each, as well as this long version that's about 20 minutes long. I'm going to end this video with a little clip from my Medicare lady and your Medicare lady too. If you happen to be looking for this, Medicare is a health insurance for seniors at 65 years old. We can help you with that too. Check out your Medicare lady. And there's a free book also just for listening.
It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of healthcare, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments receive a free ebook written by your MedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
Thanks so much, Tony from TRC Voiceovers. He is a great voiceover specialist. And if you want that free ebook, just email us at wow@omgtalk.com. That's wow@omgtalk.com. And put in the subject line, I want the free Medicare book now because I want to sign up for Medicare. Please help me, Paul and Sarah. Your MedicareLady.com as well. And Tony, here's a little blurb about Tony as well.
You have been listening to the OMG podcast with Paul Finkelstein. We can help you build wealth without hogging your time. Schedule a one-on-one with us. Thanks for listening. Join us again for another OMG podcast segment.
Thanks so much, Tony. Thank you guys for listening. See you guys all tomorrow. If you want to come on live on the show and actually meet me in person, instead of just listening in the wings somewhere on social media, you can actually come into the studio and be here in the studio audience at omgbizcafe.com. That will take you right in. Or if you are scheduled to Zoom with me, you can go to omg1to1.com or go to omgtalk.com and follow us on YouTube. Really appreciate it. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, etc. Talk to you later. Ciao for now.